This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet world. West Alabama, how are we doing today on a Thursday? It's the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, BamaCentral.com. Hope everybody's having a great day. Thank you so much for watching us on the BamaCentral YouTube channel, on the BamaCentral Facebook page. You're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts, BUBBL. You can find the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, BamaCentral.com. We appreciate everybody who subscribes, rates, reviews the show on those podcast platforms. We're going to have a lot of fun today, but first I want to thank everybody for giving me a little bit of a reprieve. Tuesday and Wednesday, we were traveling back from Omaha, and it was a little bit of a bear to get on back, so couldn't have the show on Tuesday or Wednesday, so I got a lot of text messages, a lot of comments, what's going on. Hope you're doing well. So I appreciate everybody who reached out and was patient as we traveled back from Omaha. We're going to have a lot of fun today talking Alabama baseball. We're going to wrap up the season. We're going to take some voicemails, and we're going to talk about really the end of the 2025-2026 athletic year for the Crimson Tide, because it's now over. We're now officially in the offseason. So that's what we're going to do today with our friend Theo Fernandez. Before we do, though, we want to thank our friends at Derek Daniel State Farm Insurance. You guys can reach out to Derek at 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there, always hosting the show, sponsoring the show. We appreciate Derek Daniel, and we appreciate Purple Turtle Roofing for sponsoring the program. You can check out Purple Turtle Roofing at roofturtle.com. I know they are up to their eyeballs in residential roofs, in commercial roofs, metal or shingle roofs, all kinds of roofing problems they're tackling right there in West Alabama and all throughout the state of Alabama. So call them today at 877-787-6635. We're hanging out with my friend Theo Fernandez, and he is in the trenches working for Fox Sports as the World Cup is continuing on. The World Cup group stage turning over, number two, game number 2 starting today for some of the groups, and I know America is playing tomorrow. So Theo, first third of the group stage, you made it. You got 2 more thirds, and then it's going to lighten up. How are you, sir? Make sure you follow Theo Fernandez at Theo Fernandez _.
We're doing good. This is such a special tournament, and the hours are crazy. I want to sleep, but there is almost nothing that's going to make me complain about getting to work, this incredible event, getting to be a part of. Look, the World Cup is great every 4 years. This World Cup has an even different feel to it. I mean, first of all, the buzz, all social media, everywhere you look, it's people talking about this tournament. Records are falling every day, whether that's the attendance or the TV numbers or the social media numbers. And then just the storylines, when Messi going out with the hat trick, it feels like every single star player not named Cristiano Ronaldo is out doing something special in these games. And it really has just been a blessing to get to work this thing. So everything's going great over here.
Awesome, man. Yeah, what a really, the first round of the group stage games were just off the charts, amazing. I find it, I mean, you just mentioned it, wildly contrasting the Argentina approach and the Portugal approach of everybody's willing to die for Leo Messi on Argentina, and everybody looks like they have deep contempt for Cristiano Ronaldo on the Portugal team, his teammates that is, and you see it play out on the field as Portugal ends up drawing and Argentina ends up with a comfortable win. So going to be fun to see how it goes forward. The games that are today, we'll pick them real quick as before we get into the voicemails in Alabama. Plays South Africa at 11. Switzerland and Bosnia-Herzegovina plays at 2 o'clock. Canada and Qatar at 5. Mexico and South Korea at 8. So it's going to be a fun day of games. I'm taking Czechia to win. I'm taking Switzerland and Bosnia to draw. I'm taking Canada and Qatar to draw. And I'm taking Mexico to win. How about you, soccer expert?
Yeah, I like Czechia. I like the Switzerland-Bosnia draw. I like Canada to lose this Canadian team did not look all that good. And look, if you can pencil me in to pick Canada to lose every game it plays in this tournament. And give me South Korea to pull the upset. I really liked what South Korea did game one. Mexico has a star player out because of a dumb red card late against South Africa. So maybe some upset there from the Koreans.
All right, so it's going to be a fun day of soccer, and if you're into that, you guys can leave us comments or leave us a voicemail if you like that. But we're going to keep picking games each day that we're on, just for the fun of it to celebrate. Let's get right into it with Alabama, because I am back from Omaha, and it was such a fun time to be out there. Look. The hardest part of my job was on display again. You see the end. The boys are upset. The moms and dads are hugging, and everybody's kind of in this finality mode. So that was a little difficult, but the event was amazing. Theo, I just want to get into it real quick. I enjoyed my time in Omaha for sure. It was a little spaced out for my liking. I mean, obviously that caters to the competition, and that is seen with the final schedule. North Carolina and Oklahoma making the final, but they're going to get today and tomorrow off before starting the final series on Saturday. So it was a little spaced out for my taste. With Alabama playing on Saturday and Monday, but with only one stadium to have all the games, that kind of makes sense. And you don't want to cram 4 games into a single day. That make it pretty tough on the event staff and pretty tough on all the timing. That would be probably my only real complaint of the event. The stadium was absolutely gorgeous. The entire time. Charles Schwab Field was really, really beautiful. It's dressed really nicely. All the event staff was extremely nice. And the concessions were really, really, it was total state fair, ballpark-esque food. And they had a huge baseball convention kind of gear outside the stadium where you could spend all kinds of money on Easton and all kinds of the gear that all the baseball players have. It was cool because you also had a big youth tournament event going on at the same time. So in my hotel, you just had young boys running up and down the hallways and, baseball parents sitting in the lobby drinking and having a good old time. So it was very celebratory in Omaha. I will say that Omaha really surprised me because it wasn't just cornfields. This good old boy, this southern boy who's never been to Nebraska. Actually, I've driven through Nebraska one time as a high schooler, but not really been there as an adult. And I thought, what are we going to do in Nebraska? What's it going to be? They had a great food scene in the city. The city had a great food scene. I ate really, really well, so thankful for that. And just the vibes were really, really high throughout the week that I was in Nebraska. All the locals were extremely accommodating. Theo, I had meals paid for twice out there by random locals, just meeting me at a bar or meeting me just sitting there at the table. Oh, where are you from? Alabama? Okay, let me get your tab. Let me get your bill. What? Oh, okay, thank you. So that was really, really fun to experience. The people in Nebraska were very, very welcoming and seemed very excited about the event. But I give it a thumbs up, really. If you guys, if Alabama gets back there in the future, Rob Bond says we're going to be back there. If Alabama gets back there in the future, I would encourage you all to think about making the trip out to Omaha. I know that it's a little bit of a trek driving wise. I think we heard from a couple of people that it was 15 hours driving. I was lucky enough to hop on a plane to get there. A small connection. Theo, I ran through the Chicago airport on Tuesday morning. I was running to get my connection, but luckily got the connection. Nothing bad happened. And so, yeah, I would encourage everybody. Is Alabama, as Rob Bond is continuing to build, it was an event that I would encourage everybody to get out to. You had the 8 schools all converging as one. And really, I didn't ever sense any hint of nastiness. You know how football goes, Theo, where you have fan base A and fan base B, and it starts to become a little bit of venom back and forth and a little bit of, it's football. We want to get active and get after our opponent a little bit. I never sensed any of that. I sensed all just, I'm here to cheer for my team and celebrate baseball and rah, rah, go team. So it was a different kind of cheering. It was a different kind of mixing with the fan bases. And really, I just give the whole event a big thumbs up. So if Alabama gets back there next year or in the future, I would encourage a lot of people to consider getting out to Omaha.
I'm a little surprised by that description, like no nastiness, just, fun cheering amongst the teams. I wonder if that is due to how many newcomers you had and the fact that only one of those teams had been there in the last 3 years. If a couple of certain SEC programs made there, I wonder if it would have looked a little different, or maybe that's just the vibe of Omaha. But regardless, the way you describe it, and I want to make it there at some point in the next couple of years. It does sound like such a special event to be a part of. It just looks like everyone has such a good time. So glad you went out there and enjoyed it, despite the trip being maybe a little shorter than we thought coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to turn our attention to the voicemail line because we got 2 voicemails that bring up baseball topics and talk about baseball. So we're going to use that to kind of launch off our baseball conversation. I know Alabama fans, you're probably disappointed on how it went. 9-0 against Oklahoma on that Saturday and 14-2 against Texas on the Monday. So really not very competitive for the Crimson Tide. Let's go to the voicemail line, 205-462-7340, extension 800, and we can talk about how it went down for the Crimson Tide.
Everett from Fernandez, just want to say thank you to all the BamaCentral staff. You know who you are. Thank you for all your hard work. And thank you to the Alabama baseball team for making it to the College World Series. And I'm proud of all the teams. But question for you, Theo. What do you think that needs help in the baseball team this upcoming next year? Okay, and I will listen to y'all's comments all the time. Thank you, and roll Tide.
Well, it's time to put a bow on Alabama baseball this season. It was very disappointing turnout in Omaha. I think we can all agree on that. It was. But, man, what a ride. What a season. I haven't said this in all my years of watching Bama baseball, but I said before the season started, this will be our best chance to make it to Omaha for a multitude of reasons. Great incoming freshman, LeBron being back. I thought they did good in the portal, and they put it all together. Granted, they had an easy run, but who cares? They broke down the barrier. They tore the wall down. They got that monkey off their back of being sent home for 27 years straight and not making it to the College World Series. And it's over. They've changed the trajectory, of Bama baseball from here on out, at least for the foreseeable future. And that's what you want. That is exactly what you want if you're Rob Bond. I mean, how can you be upset? Yeah, the games didn't go how we wanted to, but again, making it to the World Series, it's a step in the right direction. It really is. With that being said, we got football, we got media days coming up, we got basketball, not too far along from that. It'll be here before you know it. I know y'all been talking about the new indoor facility. It's really cool. It's state of the art. It's better than some NBA teams, let's be honest. You know what I mean? I mean, it's really awesome. It's incredible. Hopefully we get to tour that place. Hopefully we get to put some shots up, shoot around a little bit. But anyway, out of the incoming guys, freshmen and transfers for basketball, who's going to be the best? Let's have a dialogue. Who will be the best newcomer to Bama hoops in 2026 and 27? I'm going to go Drew Fielder. Guy can shoot, stretch the floor. Reminds me a lot of Grant Nelson. but I think he's a better shooter than Grant. Hopefully that pays off. Hopefully I'm right about that, but we'll see. I want to hear y'all's thoughts on that. And also, again, let's put a bow on Bama baseball. Let's not cry. You know, I know Theo's been talking smack to me on Snapchat. He said this team sucked and was terrible. I mean, I don't know what game he watched. I guess being in L.A., I guess he's been smoking too much since it's legal over there. And he had been watching Bama baseball ever since he left. But, I mean, this team's great. They're awesome. They had a great year, man. They deserve to be there. I know they got blown out, but this was a successful season. It was. Really was.
Whew! Theo, you got called out. Why don't you go ahead?
Okay. I went on. We have a group chat. Me, Hunter, Brantley, a bunch of the other guys, and I went in that group chat and did all the stuff. You guys have seen the Auburn comments on this Alabama team and how the team was really bad and Mickey Mouse path. And I got in there, and I think sarcasm doesn't translate super well, especially with me trying to do it 14 hours into an 18-hour shift. So maybe that came off a little. I don't know. I thought it was clear I was doing a bit. Hunter, we got to get a better read on that. But no, look, it was an incredibly successful season for this program. And I really liked what Hunter said in the beginning. This feels at least like a new normal. I'm not saying that Alabama will be back in Omaha every year, but I think from here on out, there is an expectation that Omaha is something this team is capable of doing. And it is something this team is almost expects to, like, you can expect to see Alabama amongst the top half of the SEC. You've known, I mean, back-to-back winning seasons, right? Winning 40 games in seasons, bringing in, we'll talk about the talent in a minute for Everett, the guys coming into the program, but bringing in elite talent, bringing in guys who are, you're going to see the MLB draft picks roll in under a month now when we have the draft. You're going to see two pitchers go off the board very high. You're going to see guys like Brady Neal and Justin LeBron go off. Brady Neal should be a second-round pick. Like, you just have talent flowing in, talent flowing out, success on the field, an expectation of winning big games. There is certainly a new trajectory for this Alabama baseball program.
Yeah, I think that you and Hunter both nailed it. And I think you nailed it even harder, because I don't expect to be back in Omaha next season. But I'll tell you this, I expect to host a Tuscaloosa Regional. I expect to host a Tuscaloosa Regional and to be on that line of, will you host a Super Regional line? Because really, I think Rob Vaughn has raised the bar each year of what the standards of the program are. And of course, look, you can nitpick on this season about the errors. You can nitpick this season on the inconsistent hitting. I mean, when this team hit, they hit the cover off the ball. But they also had games like in Omaha where they struck out a bunch of times and showed poor plate discipline. Like, you can nitpick the in-game stuff and how the team performed this year. But I think the larger takeaway is that, the belief that has permeated through the program and the expectation of excellence and we're going to fight tooth and nail every day for a result has been baked in and has been embedded into this Rob Vaughn program. And I think that with that belief, and then combined with the talent that has been brought in and the retention that is likely, you're going to attempt to have, you're going to hope to retain a lot of these freshmen and bring in some of this new talent. I think that there's been a new energy for Alabama baseball, and maybe it didn't catch on for the wider Alabama fan base until late in the year. Obviously, we saw the 7,500 at the Super Regional. I think that kind of indicates that, there is a little spark of new energy, not just in the I love Alabama baseball fans, but in the larger Alabama athletic fan base. And with that new energy, I think the expectations will be, hey, you better. We're hosting a Tuscaloosa Regional next year, and as a 1 seed, we're bringing in another set of 3 teams, and we're fighting to get to supers, and you're going to be right on that 8-9 line, whether you're hosting supers or not. So I do think that the trajectory of Alabama baseball is on the upward curve, going really off the chart to the top right. And Rob Vaughn is a huge part of that. And look, we started this postseason going Rob Vaughn 0-4, 2 years in a row, 0-2, 0-2, and then he rattles off 5 straight wins. And sure, the program did kind of fall on its face in Omaha. We could talk about why or how or what the background of that is. But largely, I do agree that the expectation for the program has been raised, and the possibility of making it back to Omaha is not some crazy, I hope we do one day.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think from a fan perspective, you have a reason to support this team. You have a reason to validate the idea that I'm going to. Let's look, college baseball is a massive time commitment. It is. It is something that can be really rewarding to follow as a fan if you're going to follow a team that will be successful. But yeah, Alabama baseball did not justify that time commitment in the past, right? And it was very easy to make the argument for, why it's not worth my time, especially when there's a program like softball sitting there too. Alabama baseball certainly has turned some heads, and see no reason for a fan not to want to support it. And I think that will continue into next year. I like the talent that is coming in. You've done a good job, especially bringing in some nice arms. Yeah, Evan, just to throw out some of the names, Evan Malone was the 6A freshman of the year from here in Tuscaloosa, pitching for Northridge. He'll be coming to town. I've spoken to him a bunch over the years at VUA. So, seems like he'll be a nice piece for this team down the line. Garrett Lambert, transfer from Mercer, 4.31 ERA over 70 innings. I want to say he has 2 years left. And then the big one is a guy, I might butcher this last name. I think it's Michael Sinai or Sinai, one of those two. He was absolutely lights out over the first half of the year. Pitcher for USF. Ended the season 55 strikeouts over 80 innings, 3.8 ERA. He has legit stuff, man. I was watching him throw, and he seems like he is going to be a dude for this team. And you have 2 starting pitchers to replace. This feels like probably one of the guys who will be one of the replacements. You have a lot more work to do with the guys you bring in. You have Hudson Devon is the only, if I'm not mistaken, he is the only 5-star in the class, 5-star pitcher for this program. But you have a bunch of guys coming in. How many of them reach campus versus get drafted remains to be seen. But you can see the makings of a nice class, first of all. And you can certainly have the expectation that some legitimate ballers are going to want to come into Tuscaloosa and play for this program after the team did. It may be, you're not, if you look at star power, right? You're not going to bring in a Justin LeBron. You're not going to likely bring in a Brady Neal as far as guys who will produce like that right away. But you can certainly sit there and look and say, it may be the Eric Hines show right now, right? Eric Hines it certainly is like the face of the team, him and Miles Upchurch, as far as the guys that people know will just come in and be stars and represent the program. I like what you have. I like what you have on this roster. Even a guy like JoJo Williamson, right? The outlaw who has shown flashes over 2 years and seems, champing at the bit to get on the field. He should be a starter this year. I like what you have. Even, look, I can talk about Justin Osterhaus, right? Who came in, people expected a lot, and he should be significantly better this season as he's adjusted to the SEC. I will have to sit down and do a full roster breakdown at some point over the next couple probably right after the World Cup when I'll sit down and actually get you guys some concrete info. But I like the makings of this team early
The
on.
only other name that you didn't mention that I want your opinion on is Chase Kroberger, because look, you're at the end of your run in the World Series, and he's the one that gets thrown out there as a pinch hitter. Like I really feel like Rob Vaughn, when he threw Miles Upchurch in the relief against Texas and put Chase Kroberger in as a pinch hitter in that last inning, I thought he was thinking in the future. I want to get these guys some a rep, or get these guys some experience in the College World Series. What is Chase Kroberger? Does he have a path? Is he going to be one of these players that we rely on next season?
Yeah, Chase Kroberger, if you say it's healthy, I would be extremely surprised if he's not the starting center fielder next year. Rob Vaughn's alluded to it. He's talked about Kroberger a lot. He probably, in retrospect, I'm willing to say he gave Kroberger too long of a leash this year, as far as, Kroberger had some nice moments there, but it just clearly wasn't quite ready, and he stayed in the lineup a lot longer than some people cared for. I was a little surprised to see him out there that long, but you also got to remember, you have Coleman Mizell was a starter for most of the 2025 season. He comes back. Sam Christensen I absolutely had him penciled in as a starter for basically the whole offseason until he broke his leg in January. He didn't see the field. Logan Davenport was incredible a year ago in the Horizon League. And you have three guys there in the outfielder, along with Hines, along with Osterhaus, who could also play in the infield, along with Kroberger. You have a lot of names out there that can start in the outfield. You're going to bring in more talent. But I think I would, right now, if I had to pencil in who was going to start in the outfield, it would probably be Kroberger in center, Peyton Steele in right, because I think Peyton Steele absolutely has the inside track, and then probably Christensen and Hines splitting in left, with Hines as the everyday. Eric Hines will never be out of the lineup if he's healthy.
DHing some days, left field some days.
Yeah, you have the flexibility to move guys around.
Well, I do think the future is really, really bright for Alabama baseball. I don't know how much you got to watch on Monday against Texas, but it was the same story. It was the same story against Oklahoma, from Oklahoma as it was against Texas, where Texas jumped right on top of you right from the jump. I think they scored 7 runs in the first 2 innings. And I'll be honest, Theo, as soon as the second inning was really cranking up, I was booking a flight. I thought, wow, Texas is jumping on top of Alabama. Rob Vaughn kind of alluded to the fact that that Bryce Fowler was playing this past weekend sick. He's what he said. Oh, big fever. But I don't care about the path that Alabama took to get to Omaha. Like that just is outside of their circumstances. I think that is a silly thing to latch onto, because you can only play and beat the teams that are in front of you. And Alabama did. Once you got to Omaha, I think that the program, learned a really, really good lesson. That you've got to continuously be building. You've got to continuously be growing, be striving, be on edge at all times. When you got here, you had it was the last 8 teams, and Oklahoma was dialed in, and Oklahoma has still been dialed in. They ended up beating Georgia twice, and now they're in the championship series. So, Oklahoma, I don't really even feel like you can condemn or be all that upset with the Alabama program because of how hot Oklahoma is. Now, with the Texas game, I also don't know that you can get that upset about Alabama's performance. The only thing really is maybe a better approach to the plate. You can talk about that. You've got a couple of errors that you can look to. Eric Hines and Bryce Fowler kind of had a little confusion moment that led to big offensive output for Texas. I don't really find myself that disappointed in Alabama's output. To me, for a program that hasn't been there in 27 years, to get all the way there, I wonder a little bit. Oh, did Alabama just think that not that the job was done, but did Alabama just have a whoo? We did it. We got to Omaha. We won a super regional. All's gravy from here. Not that they were happy to be there, but I don't know if Alabama maintained its mental. We've got to be dialed in, focused. This is life or death. Now, I'm sure the players will probably disagree with me, but the results kind of speak to the fact that Oklahoma and Texas were more dialed in, more focused. They played a better brand of baseball in those two games. I just have a hard time walking away from the results thinking, like anything negative about Alabama, other than learning moment, learning experience, good for the program, good for the players that will be coming back to have experienced. Hey, if you are back in Omaha, you've got to be even more dialed in at that next level. I just have a hard time finding any more criticism other than, hey, you just a little more juice, so if you get back there.
Yeah, Joe, you're allowed to get beat. You're at the stage in the season where, look, Texas, if you told me Texas was going to win the national championship, I would have been like, yeah, that tracks, right? Oklahoma, I was very high on. They are a great team. They have talent. They are all coming. Like, there's nothing really to hang your hat on at this point in the season for Alabama. The comparison I would make is, all right, it's not a great comparison because Alabama really competed with UConn in the Final Four. But imagine 2 years ago, hypothetically, that Alabama just got absolutely rolled over by UConn in that Final Four game. Would anyone have been disappointed? No, you made the Final Four. You made Omaha. Like, there is very, very little for a team that was projected to finish 13th in the conference, that had all of these just incessant issues and so many questions up until late April. There's very little to hang your hat on for this team. I think it's just overly a successful season for this program. You made it.
So, talking about Justin LeBron, going to be going forward in the MLB draft here next month. How do you assess really his season and really the impact of what he's done over 3 years at Alabama? Because it wasn't his best season. He talked about it after the loss to Texas. He said the biggest thing that I learned this year was how to deal with adversity. He said, I went through a lot of adversity. I struggled this year. The biggest thing that I learned is how to struggle and how to keep coming back the next day, even if I'm struggling. He said, that's what I'm going to carry into the majors because, look, you're going to be struggling in Major League Baseball. That's just part of it. How do you quantify Justin LeBron? I mean, he leaves with 69 career stolen bases, I believe it was. So he's second all time in stolen bases in the Alabama baseball history. I know maybe he wasn't as great with his glove this season. Did have an error against Texas. I think that things were already off the rails at that point, so I'm not blaming the law. Don't hear me blame any loss on that. But it wasn't his best season. But as you kind of alluded to earlier, he has been the face of the Rob Vaughn era.
Joe, this conversation right here is going to be one of the last times that anybody talks about Justin LeBron in any kind of negative light. Because when you look at the way that he is going to be remembered, summed it up really well with that article you wrote post-game where you said Justin LeBron changed the trajectory of this program. I know those were Rob's words, but I think he did a nice job spinning it all together. That is how he will be remembered. Like we can talk about the underwhelming season he had, right? We can talk about the batting numbers dipping and the errors in the field and whatever you want to highlight from his season. We can talk about it. But starting in about a month, it will be rendered completely irrelevant because Justin LeBron, in the canon of Alabama baseball history, he is the shortstop who came in, dominated as a freshman, and led this team over his 3-year career to Omaha and was the building block of the early Rob Vaughn era. And that's all he's going to be remembered as. Like there's no more talking about Justin LeBron negatively from an Alabama baseball legacy perspective. And he deserves the praise that has been thrown his way. He deserves the flowers he's gotten. And look, like we know right now, we can sit here and think about all the struggles he had, right? And we can think about there were, as I've said, Alabama baseball supporters who were thinking, can Justin LeBron play shortstop for this team anymore? It was a dumb take that they had, but it was a take. It was something like there was a lot of criticism of LeBron this year. Joe, I'm waiting for someone to put together the edit of all of LeBron's best defensive plays from his career, because people are going to like that edit. Someone's going to watch it in 5 years and think, man, like this guy was just an incredible shortstop. And you'll look at the error numbers and be like, oh, wow, how'd he do this? And I think LeBron ended third all-time single-season stolen bases for Alabama. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's where he landed. It was, I think most players would kill for that to be their down season.
I'm with you. I think that, staying the course, believing in Rob Bond, and people can be upset about some errors here or there, or, I think people, when they think about star players, think that they're infallible and think that they're just going to be perfect all the time. I mean, not everybody is Leo Messi, but I think that you got to be really, really happy with what you got out of Justin LeBron over 3 years, especially as the team results go. You made the play. You made the postseason 3 years in a row with Justin LeBron, and then he helped you get to your Omaha for the first time in 27 years. Let's save the question from Hunter Brantley about which basketball newcomer are you most excited about. He picked Drew Fielder. That's a great pick. I think he's going to be a really fun player for tomorrow. So we'll talk about basketball newcomers tomorrow. But I want to finish this program up by looking at Katie Wyndham's article that she put out this morning, because I think Katie Wyndham really tackled a fun subject, but maybe a difficult subject. She ranked all the programs for the Crimson Tide this year. She ranked all the athletic programs, best to worst, which teams had the best season, and I think she's got some fun picks. So I think that's a great way to close the program. Before we do, though, I want to tell everybody about our friends at Purple Turtle Roofing. At Purple Turtle Roofing, we're not just another contractor. We're your neighbor and your advocate when it comes to protecting your home or business. With years of hands-on experience, top-tier certification, and a commitment to excellence, we've built a reputation as Alabama's go-to roofing solution. We specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, emergency storm repairs, full-on roof replacements, insurance claim support, and more. You can visit us online at roofturtle.com for all products and services. It doesn't matter what kind of roof you have, they'll come out and take care of you. Call them at 877-PT-ROOF-5. That's 877-787-6635. They'll come out, give you a free roof inspection, let you know if you got any trouble spots, let you know if your roof's doing good. They're going to give you the peace of mind that you deserve in your home. Look, you're living in your home, you're working in your business. You want to make sure all your stuff is protected from the weather, from the water, from all kinds of elements. Check out roofturtle.com for all of their products and service. They'll come out, give you a free roof inspection, and give you that peace of mind that you deserve. Purple Turtle Roofing, roofing with heart, built to last. All right, Theo, let's close this bad boy down before you go watch a lot of soccer today with Katie Wyndham's article. She ranked the 2025-26 Alabama Crimson Tide teams. And I'm just going to blitz through her top 10, and then I got questions or conversations off of it. So I'm going to start with number 10. She went with men's swimming and diving. Men's swimming and diving top 25 finish, 24th at the NCAAs. Crimson Tide 6th place at the SEC Championship. Okay. Women's cross country, Doris Lemon-Golay. Doris Lemon-Golay won the individual event, the cross-country SEC title. They finished second place as a team out there in the cross-country event. So good job for them. Number 8, she picked men's track and field. Men's track and field finished 12th in the NCAA indoor and outdoor season, highlighted by Samuel Ogazi setting an NCAA record with his 400-meter dash. Fourth fastest 400-meter dash of all time. Unbelievable for Samuel Ogazi. Number 7, she put women's swimming and diving. They finished 4th in the SEC and 11th place in the NCAA championship. So good job for those ladies. Number 6, we're starting to get into teams we're really more familiar with. Gymnastics. Gymnastics top 5 all year long, but did not make the NCAA championship. They lost in the Corvallis regional, so they got decently far, but didn't get to the championship round. Then number 5, she puts Alabama baseball. So we all just know we know those accomplishments. 4th place in the SEC, making it back to Omaha. We just spent 20-30 minutes talking about how Alabama baseball finished. Number 4. She picked men's basketball, making the Sweet 16, making top 4 in the SEC. Obviously didn't like the losing to Michigan in that fashion, but she did make the Sweet 16 after all kinds of weirdness and turmoil in your front court especially. Number 3, she puts Alabama football, and here's where we're going to start to get into debate. Alabama football, SEC runners-up. You did get your doors blown off by Indiana, but you had the comeback win against Oklahoma. You got the playoff win. You were one of the last 8 teams to play college football this year, but we know for Alabama fans, maybe that's just not good enough. Number 2, she puts men's cross country. She puts them this high because men's cross country, this is wild to think of, with all the success that Alabama had this year athletically. Men's cross country, the only Alabama program to win an SEC team title. Obviously, this was back last fall. They finished 6th place in the NCAA championship event. And then number 1, Katie Windham, bias alert, Katie Windham. No, I'm just kidding. She picked Alabama softball as the team that had the best Alabama Crimson Tide season this year. And really hard to argue. They were really, really good throughout all the SEC season, finished 2nd in the regular season, finished 2nd in the tournament title, and then they made the semifinal. They were one of the last 4 teams standing in college softball. So those are Katie Windham's top 10 teams athletically for Alabama. Now, she goes all the way down and ranks even more. So if you want to read about 11, 12, 13, 14, you can read it on BamaCentral.com. But Theo Fernandez, did Alabama football have a better year than the baseball program?
Yeah, this is a fascinating one. I mean, in basketball, sliding in right there too. I have a hard time putting football above baseball
or basketball,
right? I have a hard time not putting baseball in that number 3 spot. Obviously, softball is 1. I don't think that's up for debate at all. So we're fighting for 3, 4, 5 here. All right. I mean, looking, football and baseball both finished their seasons in the quarterfinals, right, of their playoff tournament in blowout loss fashion. Football was the better. No, I mean, baseball was the better regular season team too. As I'm thinking it through,
and
you gotta go
football
baseball.
far higher expectations. Like baseball, you outlined it 20 minutes ago. Predicted 13th in the SEC. I mean, you go back to last year's SEC media days of football. You had people picking Alabama 1, 2, or 3, and that was basically it.
Yeah, Katie Windham, not non-ball knower apparently at this point. No, yeah, I'm with you, Joe. Baseball. Now, what do you do with basketball? Does basketball remain? I think I'm okay with basketball remaining the divider between them, but I think I'm swapping baseball and football.
Yeah, because basketball, I think Sweet 16 has become the new standard line for Fernandez. Oh, if you got to the Sweet 16, then hard to argue, hard to say you underwhelmed. Did you want to have a better showing in the SEC tournament? Yes. That would have been nice. But think about all of the turmoil that basketball faced with the injuries, the front court, the Bediako saga. You basically had nothing outside of Sherelle in the post. And, we could talk about Aiden Sherelle and how he wasn't always a traditional postman. He didn't have much. we were talking rebounding all season long. Who's going to rebound? Who's going to help Amari Allen rebound? Why is Amari Allen a guard leading the team in rebound? Like, you had a significant flaw for this Alabama basketball team that Nate Oates continuously coached around. Now, you could make the same argument for the football team. You had a significant flaw with the offensive line of the running game that Kalen DeBoer coached around and got you to an SEC title game. But to me, the postseason results, yeah, you beat Oklahoma. You came back and you beat Oklahoma. Thank the Lord for Xavier Brown, pick six down the sideline at the end of the half. If you don't have that, does Alabama actually come back and complete that comeback against Oklahoma? But you sandwich the comeback win between non-competitive at all against Georgia when a title is on the line, when a trophy is on the line, and then non-competitive at all against Indiana when Rose Bowl berth and Final Four is on the line for football. Like, the non-competitive losses really just take it out for me. And you could make the same. So you could say the same thing about losing to Michigan. I mean, but Alabama in that Michigan Sweet 16 game was right there at halftime. You're right there at halftime. Now Michigan flips the switch in the locker room, and the depth in their post play really got you in that second half. But I think that Nate Oates coached his mother trucking tail off, really, to get that team all the way to that spot. And then you think about it. That's right in the middle of the Aiden Holloway issue. Yeah. He's not on the team. He's not there in the postseason. I think I like basketball being ahead of football. And I think I like baseball being ahead of both of them because of the expectations. You had Rob Vaughn really take a group of freshmen, really take a group of, I mean, Theo, correct me, but my perception of these guys is a little bit scrappy, a little bit ragtag, a little bit, we're just going to fight and get it done. Outside of a couple of players, I'm not sure that you had the same talent level that Georgia and Texas showed in the out there in the College World Series. So, yeah, for this baseball team to finish top four, to deal with, you got swept against Kentucky, bounced back and swept Florida and Auburn. I mean, a no-hitter against Florida should raise. I mean, that should take you from what you have on my 5 all the way. That should move you up right there. You have the first no-hitter in program history. Like, think about football. What did football have that was historic? I mean, first-year starter for Ty. Yeah, and he had a good year. I don't know. I think that I would drop football for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And if there was any doubt in that, you definitely erased it there. It's funny because you can make many of the same points that you made about football to baseball, but they don't seem relevant because at the end of the day, all that seems relevant is picked 13th, ended the season in Omaha, no hitter, ending the drought. That's what seems important here. So I do, like, as far as teams that baseball, I think you got everything you possibly could have out of the team. Basketball, I think for the most part you did. It's hard to have seen a world where you beat Michigan, right? Sweet 16 felt like not the ceiling because the program's capable of more, but for this individual group of team, it felt like about as far as you were going to go. Some people didn't even think they would possibly make it there. And then football, yeah, like there's no other. It's funny because we're now actually significantly removed from that Rose Bowl loss, and it feels so like just crazy to reflect on at this point in time, especially now that I'm here where people are bringing it up to me every 3 days. That feels like half of Fox the entirety of Fox loves the Big Ten, but a lot of Indiana fans among it. So I hear about it all the time, and it's almost like oh, wow, yeah, that did happen. Alabama was eliminated in 35-point fashion, and yeah, I'm okay with dropping football here.
So we're going to be in agreement with softball 1, right?
Yeah.
What it sounds like. Number 2, look, I don't follow. I'm sorry. This might make me a bad reporter, but I didn't follow the cross country season that closely. I know that, and so but the SEC title speaks for itself. I'm comfortable leaving them at 2. Are you?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, only team to have a ring this year. It speaks for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that it sounds like we're in agreement with baseball 3, basketball 4, football 5. Do you put gymnastics above football? That's the only question.
No. Gymnastics was a postseason dropper this year, right? It was incredibly disappointing from everything that I understand. Gymnastics is lower for the same reason football's lower, right?
There we go. So I think that's a fun conversation. Please check out Katie Wyndham's article and let us know. Leave us a voicemail. You can rank how the teams will finish in your mind because this is totally subjective. And if you think football should be won, great. We'd love to hear it. I'd love to take your takes. But, Theo, we should offshoot this conversation and make it individuals. And we can do that maybe Friday or Monday just to kind of give us some time to think about it. I mean, to me, I'm having a hard time getting Samuel Ogazi NCAA record #1 out of it. But, I mean, could be Ty Simpson, could be a lot of guys. Could be Tyler Fay. You can go with Jocelyn Brisky. I think Brisky is a great choice. You can talk about Anna Roman and Brooke Wells, kind of some of those hitters for Alabama softball. We haven't got a chance to talk about how badly Doris Lemon-Golay, the NCAA, I'm going to get you guys. He screwed my lady. She stepped on the line a couple of times in her long run and was disqualified after winning, 5,000 meters. She won the 5,000 meters, but was disqualified by the jokers at the NCAA. So we can talk about it in a couple of days.
Let's do an award show. Let's come up with our list of awards that we're going to announce tomorrow, and we'll do a whole we'll host Alabama's end of season banquet.
Oh, I love it. That'll be perfect. Theo, appreciate your time this morning. Anything else you have for the people before you go watch a bunch of soccer?
No, it was a good show. Glad we got to put a nice bow on baseball. I will, a little slacking in the beat writer department, but I will sit down at the end of the World Cup when the dust settles and I'll do the whole roster breakdown and then a lineup projection for you guys. Get some content out there. I'll give Davis Cornell a plug. You guys go follow him, and he will be much more active in announcing the roster. You guys deserve to be kept in the loop on who's coming.
He is going crazy on it right now.
Yes.
Make sure you follow Theo Fernandez at Theo Fernandez _. He's going to take care of a bunch of soccer duties today, and we'll talk to him again tomorrow. Follow me at Joe Gaither 6, the show at Bama Central. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, the Bama Central YouTube channel, and right there on the Bama Central Facebook page. We will talk to you again on Friday right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com.